I bet it's going to be the same result, right? So I'm sure you all have watched, or if not all of you, I'm sure most of you all have watched my video teaching the best amazing cookies and cream cake recipe ever. Now today I have decided to bring to you all an updated version of this amazing recipe that is always winning the hearts of my clients. I only decided to do this just because of the many questions I got in the previous video regarding the type of cream I used in the previous video, regarding the style of prepping of the pan in the previous video, regarding the using of some other ingredients in the video, and most importantly, to let you all know that you can multiply or even triple your recipe or increase it as much as possible. So today you all want to listen very carefully and enjoy while at it and learn something new today. And don't forget that in this community you need to subscribe so that you can always be connected to us. Don't forget to also turn on your notifications so that for every time I drop a content, you all will be the first to get a grip of it. So let's get into it right away, but note that I will be dropping the recipe in the description so that you can always make a reference of it anytime you want to try this, either as a baker or with your family and friends. So first of all, for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to be making use of a round shaped pan. I'm going to be making use of a square shaped pan in 8 inches, and the recipe I'm going to be working with is going to conveniently take on 2 flat sheets of this cake for the purpose of those that make it for dessert, or even as a cake slice option, or even if you want to make it as a whole cake for your clients. Okay, so I'm going to be giving you a listing of the recipe measurement right now. I will still drop it in the description box like I said earlier. So now we're going to be working with 4 cups of all-purpose flour. This is already pre-sieved to save us some time. And the peculiar thing about my cookies and cream recipe is it doesn't take on so many leavening agents or so many raisin agents. The only raisin agent that it has is the baking powder, and that's it right here. And it's about the most ingredient that goes into it after the all-purpose flour. And then the only other one is the table salt, which is just to give it a little spice, a little spark in the taste. Every other ingredient is just pretty much straightforward, and it should be readily available in your pantry. And note that this isn't the kind of cream that I used in my previous video. This is another kind of cream, so you all want to watch the other one for you to know what I used in that one and what I'm using here. By the way, I am using my stable whipped cream recipe in this particular video, and it's also still going to turn out very amazing. Now this is the crushed cookies I'm going to be adding into the batter at the very end of the video. This is the buttermilk that I already prepared behind camera, which is simply by mixing up 1 cup of evaporated milk with 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, the regular white vinegar. But for the purpose of this video, this is 2 cups of evaporated milk with 2 tablespoons of white vinegar going into this. I made this well ahead of time so that it can actually coagulate properly and to get it fermented enough to use it as a buttermilk. No other ingredients was added. This is actually 1 cup of crushed cookies right here, and then we also have 2/4 cups of Bailey's Irish cream. This is one thing that I never omit in my recipe, but I want to clarify something that in my former videos some people wanted to know if, for those that do not like to take alcohol, if they can go without it. The only advice I gave then, and I will still give now, is that you can actually totally take this ingredient out. But trust me when I say when you add it, it gives you a very rich Irish cream aroma. And let me tell you something about this kind of drinks. When they get into the heat, the potency of the alcohol in it is totally reduced to almost a 0 level. All you are left with is the aroma and the flavor and the preservative that contains in it, so that your cake can keep longer than if you were not to add anything. But like I said, it's an optional ingredient, but I never omit it when I'm baking mine. And this is the regular granulated sugar. We have 2 cups, that is 2 cups like this, 2 measuring cups together with 1/4 cups 2 times. So we have 2 cups and 2/4 cups of granulated sugar sitting in this bowl. And then we have 1 cup of vegetable oil, sitting here as well. We have 4 eggs already broken, and then we have 4 teaspoons of dark vanilla. You can always use the white vanilla as well. So I want to go right into it now. The quantity of this is actually 2 cups of stable whipping cream that I already whipped ahead of time. You would wonder why it looks like this. What I did was to whip it ahead of time, and I left it to sit at room temperature so that it will be very easy to work with. Okay, so we're going right into it now. The process is very straightforward. All you need to do is to add up your sugar and your vegetable oil into the bowl. And again, you can either choose to use your stand mixer or you can decide to use your hand mixer. So there is no dynamics to this. So whatever you use is still going to turn out awesome. And don't forget that you have to preheat your oven to the gas mark of 180 degrees centigrade. Alright, or the gas mark of 4, depending on the model of your oven. So you have to preheat this at least 15 minutes ahead of time so that your oven will have a considerable amount of heat trapped in before you pop your cake in, so that it can actually kickstart the baking process right, and it wouldn't have any sinking center or any dome center. It will bake very nice and rich. So we're going to go right into it now. So I'll be talking while I'm working. I'll go in first of all with the granulated sugar, already pre-measured because of time, and then immediately you go in with your vegetable oil. All right, so that's going in now. Immediately you do that, you go in with your eggs at the same time. So make sure your eggs are at room temperature before you use them. In fact, make sure all of your ingredients are at room temperature, because it always guarantees a better result. And the next thing we're going to be doing after doing this is to just pause this very briefly for about 1 minute, and once I'm done with that, I'll follow you through with the remaining process. Okay, so the next thing I will be adding would be the vanilla flavor. I add it all in a single streak like this, and after doing that, I'll just mix this in very quickly. So after I'm done with this, I'll just turn off my hand mixer and then gather the remaining dry ingredients, which is combination of the 2 tablespoons of the baking powder. Okay, so now remember that we already have the all-purpose flour already in the bowl, which is the 4 cups of the all-purpose flour. So now I'm going to be adding the 2 tablespoons of the baking powder into it now, and after that I'll just go ahead to add up the 2 teaspoons of the salt, of the table salt. All right, and then I'll just give this a quick whisk together like this, and then I'll just go ahead to just give it a quick mix to make sure that all of the ingredients is well blended and incorporated together. After which I will just go ahead to pour this in a single thread into the mix. So once I'm done doing that, I would immediately add up the milk into it, just like this. So like I said earlier, this is a pretty much straightforward process, only that you have to get all your ingredients accurately measured to guarantee you that perfect result. After this is done, you just give this a quick mix for about 1 minute, and I'll be back again to continue telling you what it is. Okay, so now we're done. So you basically just need to mix this all in to just combine, and after that you have no business with this mixer anymore, because every other thing you're going to be doing is going to be by hand. Just make sure to shake off every excess, and then you can then go ahead to just give it a quick mix to make sure that all of the dry ingredients is all blended in. And then the next thing you're going to be doing now is to add up the Irish cream, the Bailey's Irish cream. Is to add up the Bailey's Irish cream into it in a single stretch like this. Once you do that, just give it a quick folding in, as you see me do here. You can make it fast. So keep going that way. Afterwards, you would start adding, so you're going to be adding the whipping cream 2 times as well as the cookies 2 times. So the first thing you're going to be doing is to add up the first half of the whipping cream. So it goes in like this, and you immediately top it with the cookies. All right, so all you need to do is just to give this a quick mix. So this automatically increases the volume of the batter, automatically lightens the color of the batter, and automatically gives it another creamy appearance almost like immediately. So you just keep doing this, making sure that you don't have any streaks of cream hanging around inside of it, making sure that everything is going in well blended and nicely. All right, and making sure that you are exerting enough control on your spatula while folding in. You are not going to over mix this so you don't deflate it, but you don't want to not mix it properly. So the next thing we're doing now is to add the final batch of the whipping cream. And that's done. And then we'll just go on to fold this in together with the remaining batch of the cookies, and then we'll give it a final mixing like this, and we're almost done. So if you have watched my video on this recipe before, let me know the few differences and the few similarities that you have noticed as you have watched so far. You can drop that in the comment section so that I can know those of you who have watched all of my videos through and through. I hope you all are still with me. So we're almost done now. Oh, we are literally done anyway. So at the end of the mixing time, it's going to take approximately about 5 minutes mixing time. Really, it doesn't take so much time to make, and it's going to, once you pop this into the oven, it's going to bake for approximately 45 to 50 minutes. If you want to bake this in cupcakes version, by 20 minutes it is ready and set to go. So you can actually use, the good thing about this recipe is you can actually bake it as a whole cake, or you can also bake it as cupcakes. So it's not like you're going to change anything. It's going to come out just as fantastic. So for the main baking pans like this, or the test dose pan like this, all you need to do is just to check your baking time. This is going to bake for approximately 40 to 45 minutes depending on the intensity of your oven, and this is going to bake for approximately 30 minutes because it's a bit sunken in the center. It's a deep pan, so it's going to take a little while to bake, but it's still going to bake out nicely because it's a non-stick pan, by the way. So at the end of the day, you're going to have roughly about 2,000 grams of this measurements in here. So what I'm going to do is, because of former experience, I already know that it's going to be about 2,000 grams, but for the benefit of doubt, and because we want to make sure that your layers are even and your cake level is the same, we're going to go ahead to measure out each of the batter by doing this. All you need to do is to get your digital scale. You cannot use your analog scale because you're not going to get an accurate measurement. So all you need to do is to get a digital scale, turn it on to the mark of 0. But before you turn it on to the mark of 0, place your pan on top of it so that everything goes back to 0. Okay, so you turn it on. I want it to be accurate. What I need to do is to put it back on 0 like this so that it returns to the original figure. And then I just need to pour this up until when it gets to 1,000. And I will be good to go. This is to make sure that your measurement is accurate and your layers are even when they come out baked in the oven. One isn't going to be higher than the other one. So we are not trying to eyeball it here. We're just trying to work with an exact number here. So this is 1,012. So I'm just going to basically take out some up until when I get to 1,000. Especially for the purpose of desserts, you want to do this to make sure that your layers are very defined and clean. We have about 1,000 now. Okay, so that's 1,000. So all you need to do is take this out and tap it gently on your work surface, just like this. And then you repeat the process with the second one. Put it on and turn it back to the mark of 0. and after that try and scale another 1000 out of it. So we have the 1000 also here. So we'll just tap this gently on the work surface, and then I'm not measuring this is just a test dose, so I will just basically just add up the remaining bits into into the pan, because that's what I'm going to be cutting up to show you all what it looks like on the inside. And lest I forget, for this particular one, because this is a test dose, I'm just going to be adding a bit of more cookies over it, so it can have a very appealing look when it's ready and out from the oven. I'm just going to do this basically, something like this, and then I'll pop it into the oven and I'll show you all when it is ready. After about 50 minutes, our cookies and cream cake recipe is ready and out of the oven. This is what the first one looks like, and this is what the second one looks like. And this is what the samples look like, the test dose, for me to show you what the texture looks like on the inside. I made an extra one as well for the same purpose. So now we're just going to quickly flip this over so that you can see what it's like on the bottom side. So I waited for it to cool and be warm to touch so that I can handle it better. So all I need to do is to basically turn it over on the board and just lift it out. Right, and just gently peel off paper, and then I repeat the same process with the sides as well, picking it gently so I don't pull out the sides. But then I've been able to understand that for this cookies and cream recipe, this style of prepping of pan is a very good one, because it helps not to have any dry parts, and also it helps the moisture from the parchment paper to be transferred to the cake somehow. This is what the flip side looks like, and when you flip it over down, this right here is what the top looks like. You all can see how it looks well baked around the sides and no burnt sides or anything. It looks very perfectly baked and ready. Set that aside and do the same thing for the second one. All right. And you have the same results. Okay. And again, so it looks like around the sides. Flip it over, and this is what our cookies and cream cake looks like. So I just go ahead to remove the sample pan too. I just bring it out, and this also is what it looks like. You can tell how moist it is from the look. All right, and this is what the top looks like. And for this one, all I just need to do is simply tear out the foil carefully like this. Okay, to reveal what it looks like on the flip side. So do you all like what you see? So I'm just going to go ahead to cut this into two, or let's just cut this into a couple of slices so that we can tell how it looks on the inside. You all can see how it looks. The cookies are well distributed, and there is no bit of heaviness or fudginess or denseness in the recipe. It's very fluffy, you all can see. So I cut another one now. I bet it's going to be the same result, right? So it's going to be all for today and for this particular cake recipe, but I bet you all can see how the result looks very perfect, well baked. I'm a very big I'm very big on having cakes baked that look really baked and not half baked or look, almost baked, right? So from the look of this, you can tell how so nicely baked it is without being burnt and still maintaining the moisture it is supposed to have. Check how fluffy it is. It springs right back when you press it, and the same thing with the larger cake sizes. And this is just to prove to you that, like I said earlier, even if you're going to make it with smaller cakes or cupcakes, it's going to give you the same result as long as you measure out your ingredients properly and you bake it right. That's going to be all for today. I hope you all enjoyed learning something new. I hope you're going to try this out and let me know in the comments what you think about it, and if indeed you're going to be adopting this recipe into your menu. All right, till next time, I remain your favorite baker girl, Famous Desserts Girl. But one more thing, don't forget to stay close, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done that, and also turn on your notifications so that, of course, when I drop videos like this, you'll be the first to get a hang on it. So I'll see you next time. Bye.